Donald Macleod's here, clubs and venue owner and columnist, it says here. And, of course, a man who knows a thing or two about Scotland. Very good morning to you, Donald.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
Very well, very well. I mean, we're having some fun this morning with poking it at Keir Starmer, who looked for all the world, as we just heard there, like a sort of supply teacher in the headmaster's office yesterday.
That's brilliant. I mean, you know, the motorcade arrives in splendour, you know, and immediately they seem to have, you know, the court of Donald Trump arrives and they seem to have brought their own fawning fool, their own jester, and it's Sir Keir Starmer. My God, so out of his depth, he could have drowned in one of the puddles that was forming in one of the links.
I know, incredible.
Turnberry. It was embarrassing, it was edifying, but it was fascinating to watch. I mean, it really was. And but you know, the good thing is it showed Scotland, put Scotland right in the centre stage of the, you know, of the world map, you know, but it's totally embarrassing for Starmer. Boom,
I think so.
You know, wind turbines, ugly monsters. Boom, farm inheritance tax. You know, it's a death tax. Boom. If you censor me, you're making a mistake. You know, it was like, and the best, you know, boom. You know, it wasn't the best one, but cut taxes and reduce immigration. Boom. No.
And then even the one about
a nasty person.
Yeah, and he's a friend. He's a friend of mine. You go, what on earth are you thinking? It's just he treats him just like a little boy, though, doesn't he? He treats him like his mascot or his poodle.
You know, it reminded me of the first series of Blackadder. You know, with Edmund, the conniving Edmund, running about, and Brian Blessed just slapping him about. You know, as King Richard of the Fourth. You know, it's absolutely fantastic.
It is extraordinary. I mean, we haven't obviously seen it down here, but John Swinney, the leader of the SNP and the First Minister of Scotland, would have met him last night as well at this dinner, right?
Yes, I was meeting him up in the Macleod house at the Menzies course, and I think John Swinney, as much as she's more boring than Starmer at times, but I think he would have held himself much more regally and much more, you know, prime ministerish or presidential, if you want to, with Trump. But who can compete with Trump? I mean, he has proved that he was such good form yesterday. I mean, he talked for ages. It was obvious who was the king, you know, of the world.
I mean, he's quite
whether you like him or not, he just showed himself to be the boss.
He's quite a remarkable man, isn't he? For considering the age that he is, he's all over everything. He's got a great grasp of the detail. You know, I mean, when you think back to what Joe Biden was like, who's not that much, you know, older than him, you think, crikey, you know, how could that guy have been president? But he works all the time. He seems to know everything that he needs to know. He's got it at his fingertips. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't ever grasp around for a word, or he doesn't ever think, you know, what am I going to say next? He's so smooth. He controls every press conference that he has. You know, it's just, it's unlike any other president I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, he looks a lot more presidential now than he did in his first term, I think. Yeah, it was easy, and maybe the golf has done him, you know, the world a favour, even though he seemed to be cheating all his way around the course, you know. But hey, you know, it's his course. He can do it's my ball, and I can hit it, whack it, whatever, you know. But at the end of the day, I mean, he is not universally liked, as we all know. Very divisive and polarised characters, particularly here in Scotland. But I think anybody watching that yesterday would just be going, my God, you know. It was embarrassing for Starmer. It was embarrassing for Labour. It was, but brilliant for Scotland. I think at the end of the day, he's talked up Scotland. He's going to look at the whisky exports, and we should always remember he brought jobs, a lot of jobs to Scotland. He's, you know, and the people down in Ayrshire love him. Maybe not so much in Aberdeen, but give it time. But they love him down there from providing them. And putting them on the world stage, it's you know.
Absolutely. Well, they can't be too keen on Starmer in Aberdeen, because despite what he said about, you know, it's a mix about, you know, the wind farms and oil and gas. I mean, he's shutting everything down in Aberdeen, isn't he?
Well, there you go. I mean, Aberdeen and Glasgow. You know, Scotland's not in a good place between Labour and the SNP. It definitely isn't. And I mean, like the UK, the rest of the UK, Scotland, many businesses are closing, particularly in the hospitality industry. And there seems to be nothing giving back. Rachel Reeves is absolutely trashing the economy, and somebody like Trump is just sitting there going, "Oh, look at this."
Yeah, right.
So he owns it. He owns it. He's got what he wants, and he gets what he wants. Now, people might not like his the way he does it, but it's undoubtedly proven to be a success for him anyway.
Well, certainly, the tariff situation. The European Union are all jumping up and down this morning saying that Ursula von der Leyen has surrendered to him, and the euro's crashed, and they're going to be paying through the nose for the rest of the time. Well, welcome to the real world. It makes a change, doesn't it, for us to be getting a better deal than the Europeans, and for somebody to say to the EU once in a while, get stuffed.
And Starmer should get credit for that. With he might be fawning fool the patsy for whatever you want to call him, but at the end of the day, he has delivered with Trump, more a reduced tariff basis, and it's as you just pointed out, Europe is paying more, Britain's paying less, and hopefully, I just hope that he looks at whiskey, even though he doesn't drink, and says, right, well, let's bring it right down, because that is, that's a multi-billion-pound industry, and it's getting whacked with the higher taxes at the moment. So,
Well, according to a piece I'm reading in the Mail today, Rachel Reeves' tax hikes are leaving 50,000 firms in Britain on the brink of collapse.
Well, I can disagree with that. I would say it's probably more. And, you just look at the frightening statistics coming through from the hospitality industries, like 5 pubs a day are closing. You look at the farms, the inheritance tax. What was it, 6,000 farms?
Yeah. And again, disingenuous, because as Trump's talking about how, you can't go after the farmers, we haven't gone after them. He's just standing there, saying absolutely nothing.
Unable to, and that's his game. Say nothing, and then he can't get damned. But everybody's looking at that and saying, "Hold on here, this man is no leader. Britain needs leadership. Britain needs to take, control of its own situation, and it certainly hasn't done that. I fear a recession. I really do, and it's only going to get worse before it ever gets better. And that destroyed, because I was one of the fools that voted Labour, and look what they've done to my industry. They've totally decimated it. Yeah. And where do you go now?
I know.
What happens now?
Absolutely. All I can say is terrible. Thank God for the Bay City Rollers, Donald.
Yeah. Hey? Yeah, that's rolling along. Rollers Forever, the new musical. It starts at the 19th of August and ends on the 30th. We extended a run to 10 nights, and it's selling like hotcakes. It really is. Shang-a-lang. I can't wait to... the 19th of August at the Pavilion, and we're looking to roll that out across the UK next year and the year after. It could be Scotland's answer to Mamma Mia. That's what I hope.
Well, listen, you never know. It's going really well. Good to talk to you, Donald. Great to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Donald Macleod, clubs and venue and columnist up there in Bonnie, Scotland, where, of course, Keir Starmer's even more unpopular, I suspect, than he is down here. Absolutely ridiculous.